All right, what's up, everybody? Coming to you with another Once Human tutorial video. This one's been asked about a couple of times in the comments of the video of how I built my base. So I'm going to do what I hope will be a relatively short video on how I built my base, and maybe it'll give you some inspiration to how you want to build your own base, or even to copy it directly if you would so prefer. First thing we got to cover, though, is I also took inspiration for this base idea from another YouTuber whose name is Glitches, I think. Actually, I think it's Glitches. I will link his video that I saw, and I took inspiration on how to build my base from his video to make sure he gets credit, because he is really responsible for the outline of this base. And the reason why I borrowed it is not only because I liked it, but because I think it's very flexible in terms of what you want to do after you've got like the base outline done. You could really kind of go a multitude of different directions with it. And it doesn't take up like a massive footprint. So it's easy to move around and to redeploy in a new location, I think. But it gives you plenty of room to do everything you would want to do. So it strikes that good balance between things. And I think it's going to be pretty good for defense stuff as well. I don't know if I would necessarily build a base this sort of complex for like a PvP defense, but for your PvE defense wave stuff, I think it actually will do pretty well. But I haven't tested it at the high like in-game kind of defenses or anything yet, so we may have to tweak it some or change it up a little bit. And if I do, I'll try to make some future follow-up videos on it. But this could definitely be a great like starter base to kind of get you started and meet all your needs. So we're going to be building pretty much entirely using wood triangle foundations. These give you a lot more flexibility, I feel, though they do take up more structures and maybe more materials. I haven't really done the cost analysis on it, but it does take up like more structures. But like if you upgrade your territory and stuff like that, really you shouldn't run out of texture limit. But you know, just to kind of point that out. Now you want to adjust like your height. Most people are going to tell you like to try to stay like as much toward like max height as possible for defense stuff, and you know that makes sense. It's more like ground the AI has to cover. It also makes it so that when you get near hills and stuff like that, there's less chance that it's gonna burrow into the hill and cause like, you know, sort of glitching issues and stuff like that. So the first thing we're gonna do is start out with a maximum height using our Alt and scroll wheel to raise the platform up. And then you're just gonna start to fill in your starting thing here. Now, the basics of this, if you want to check if like you're in the right spot, is to go ahead and swap over to your stairs. And we use long stairs for these because the short stairs don't seem to want to connect right for some reason. And then you'll go ahead and slap in your stairs, or sometimes they could be a little glitchy for whatever reason to get them like lined up right, because stairs are always a little bit of a problem. Once you get those laid in, you can swap back to your tri foundation, and you put like your kind of your little points off to the sides that you need to have. Let's say we actually built this one one square over, which is why I like to go ahead and just slap the stairs in, so you can kind of get an idea of if you've got the right dimension laid in. And then you just kind of fill this in. So this is your basic starting shape for the base design. Your turrets are going to be on these little triangles that come out to the sides, and then I like to do a double stair up to the start. So that's your front of your base starting setup. From here, I like to do a double wide door, which you put in the middle, and then you put in window on each side. Again, this is kind of like to your preference. You don't necessarily have to put these windows in. You don't even have to do a double wide door if you don't want to. This is just the way I like to do it. And this is like another way to see like, are we building to scale correctly? Because the door should line up with the top of the stairs and then have the 2 windows on each side, or 2 walls, or whatever it is you prefer to do. From here, you're going to start to build your walls out. So your wall needs to connect at the corners, at the angle, which is another reason why we use triangles. So you're going to angle off each side. And then from there, you're going to build 3 walls, or could do more. You could do 4. You could do 2 if you want it to be smaller. It's really up to you. This is the way I like to do it, where I do 3 walls. So you set up your 3 walls off the corner, 1, 2, 3. And then you're going to cut in and do the same thing again. So we'll go ahead and repeat that on this side. Get our triangle back. Build out. Fill it in. Go back to this. 1, 2, and then 3. Then we need 1 more triangle. And we cut in. From here, you just repeat. You do the same thing. Build your triangles. Then 1 wall, 2 wall, 3 wall. And you cut in. You just keep repeating that process until everything connects together. Go ahead and connect everything. Back to your wall. Wall, 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 and a wall. And now you've got your basic outer shape all the way done. So you can check all this. Sometimes I even mess it up. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, see, like actually here we actually made a mistake. So there's a good example. We actually didn't do it right. And then I hit the wrong button. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. We got 1 too many walls. Same thing over here. 1, 2, 3. We made wait, how did I mess up the first one? 1, 2, 3. I messed it up already. But luckily it's very easy to like rebuild it. Somehow I just can't count today. It's one of those days. But it's very easy to fix because all you're really using is triangles and walls. But check that before you get too far ahead, because then it's gonna be that much harder to fix it if you've already like started putting in like more of your walls and stuff like that. So like make sure you're checking that stuff as you go along, just like I did. So I'm kind of glad even I did make that mistake. That way you guys could see that. So now we got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And then 1, 2, 3. We're gonna cut in, kind of fill in your walls. But as I say, at this point, like you could do it however you want. Like you could go wider, you could go shorter. If you want to do 4 walls, you want to do 2 walls. Doesn't really matter. I do 3. I think that's more than big enough. And then you fill in the rest of this with your triangles. Little bit slow sometimes because the operation's too frequent error that likes to pop up. As you build upwards and you keep building toward the center, because this is a decently sized base, supports do become a problem. So I like to go ahead and slap in some supports down here. I find it easier to do it from the outside usually. So go into like your flight camera, hitting the tilde button and kind of fly around the outside and throw in some wall supports. If you want to, for visual style, you can go ahead and fill in all the supports. I like to do that just because I think it looks better. But it's up to you if you want to do that. I don't think you need all these supports put in necessarily. But you can go ahead and do that. You do want to get them at the corners. So now you've got like your basic support structure going on. And what I like to do just to keep track of the design and make sure I'm not messing up with the next part of this, I like to go ahead and, that's the ceiling one. I like to go ahead and color in some shapes. So this like basic center shape here, and then use a different color for the outside. And you'll see why I like to color these here in a moment. So like this gives you like your basic setup of the bottom floor. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to add stairs. So we come into the structure's interior. I like to use the spiral stairs. I think they work really well. The way we want to line this up is we want to look at the door, and we want to have the stair lined up with the door. So as you come in the door, the stairs are right there. I like to put the other door that I'm going to use on the back, directly behind it. That way you have a pass through all the way through. Again, this is up to you. If you want to do it that way, you could put a door over here if you wanted to. You know, you can add more doors, have more entrances. It's really all up to you at that point. But I like to have a door on each end. So I'm going to line this one up with the back door. And we're going to do the same thing. And have it so that it lines up as soon as you come in. Bam, the stairs are right there. So now you've got your spiral stairs that are going to connect to the next floor. So that is the base setup. And then for the outside area, you just kind of fill it in. You're going to do the same thing on each corner. So you're going to come around, fill it in with your triangles, add your little wing tips that come off for your turret placements, and then just kind of work around it as such like that, and you just fill it in. How are we out of, wait, how are we out of sand? We shouldn't be out of sand already. That's odd. Does wood take more than stone? Seems strange. Well, we'll just demolish this pre-made house over here that we don't even really need anyway. This house just is in the world when you first get here. I wonder if you don't get all the sand back. I'm still figuring out all the Eternal Land stuff. Maybe you don't get all the sand back when you demolish. I'm not sure. But either way, we'll get some more sand from this. So go ahead and knock all that out. So yeah, you just, as you can see, we don't need to finish the outside, but like you see how that works. We just keep adding triangles and filling in the outside and adding our little tips off the sides where we're going to eventually place our turrets off to the sides. And then for the next floor, you're just going to fill in the roof again with triangles. This part can be a little bit of a pain in the butt. I won't lie. Filling in the ceiling is definitely the worst part of the whole build. Because there's a lot of little, and it does stuff like that right there. That's a good example. It does a lot of that kind of finicky stuff with the way these things line up. And it's easier once you get it going. As you can kind of tell, it starts connecting easier. But to get it going, sometimes it's a bit of a pain in the butt. It also will get a little bit tricky the more floors you add when it comes to having enough support, which is why, and I will show here in a minute, why we're going to add more supports in the center, because that's going to support the connections coming out. It's not, as far as I've noticed, a huge problem on the first floor that you add, but as you come up to the second floor, the third floor, depending on how you want to look at it, it gets to be a little bit more annoying. So I go ahead and add some supports at the corners of our middle shape. Again, another reason why we go ahead and color this, so you can see, okay, where do my supports need to go in the center? And then you can bring those supports up to the next floor, if you would so like at this point, and connect everything up. I think it's a little bit easier to do it now rather than after. It can also help as kind of a tip. As much as I love the free camera when it comes to building bases, I find it's actually a little bit easier to do the ceilings in the actual character by looking up rather than trying to do it free camera mode. So if you're just having tons of problems getting these triangles to fit in right, just come in on your actual character and do it. makes it a lot easier, so you can just kind of look at exactly where you want it to be. So you just fill in all these triangles, and just like that, you have your second floor already set up. And again, you can do the same thing. You can start to color in these tiles, so you can kind of get a good visual representation of the separation between the layers, but it's pretty easy to do. And the thing that people were curious about in particular about the second floor was the little cubby rooms that come off. So how do we do that? Pretty simple. We go into our wood triangles again, and then we just kind of come off the roof. And we ran out of sand again for some reason. I don't know why the sand is being such an issue, but we'll go ahead and demolish some of this outside so I can show how we build this, because we've already shown that. So you just come off with your triangles and fill in this section, and then you bring up your walls. Again, these can be a little finicky sometimes. Build your walls. And just kind of fill it in. So now you've got your little like cubby area off to the side. And again, if it helps you, as it helps me, go ahead and color these so you can see the difference. So this is your little cubby where your deviants could sit, or your crafting benches, or wherever you want to do. And then this is like the inside of the base, right? And this helps because it lets you see what is the overhang part of the base, which we've just made this little cubby, right? Now it's overhanging for our outside platform. And this is like the internal, this like brown part is still the internal part of the base, which is the same between floors, right? So this gives you like a little bit of a visual. It also looks kind of nice design wise, but you know, it's up to you what you want to do with it. But I like to go ahead and color these just so I can see the differences between stuff and make sure that I'm laying everything in correctly. And then you just repeat this process on each part. So you go ahead and like make you a cubby here, make you a cubby here, make you a cubby here, or less cubbies if you don't want that many. It's really up to you at this point what you want to do with it. You could even get rid of the cubby entirely. You know, maybe you don't even want that. You could just rip this whole thing off if you would so like, and not even have it. Ripped off a little bit more there than I wanted to, but you know, you get the point, right? Like you don't even have to do that at this point. You can really do whatever you want to do and modify this base design into whatever you want to do. So if you don't want to have the cubbies, you don't like that, or you think it's too much, or you don't have enough materials to build all that extra base right now, and you just want to get like your basic walls and stuff up, if you can get the darn wall to connect, sometimes it doesn't want to work right. Build that one. Come on, wall. There we go. So if you don't want to have that, just chop it off, or you know, just fill in the wall as per normal, right? So now you don't have to use that extra material to fill in that cubby. Now you've just got the outer wall here, and then your inner wall still here. You know, it's honestly up to you. That's why I kind of like this base design, because now you've got so many options on how you want to do it. And you can just continue off of that in any direction that you want to go. You can even chop off some of the turrets if you think there's too many turrets. You don't have to put them on every single corner. Like say, you can put doors wherever you want to put them, but the basic of the design is already done. You know, the bottom floor, the basic layout, and this gives you plenty of room to put stuff anywhere you want. As you can kind of tell, there's plenty of room to run around in here. There's plenty of room for all your stations, and you can just keep going upwards from here. These connect relatively easily. You just come around, boom, connect your stair, then boom, connect your stair, and you're already ready to go for the next floor. You can just keep going. You know, you can add almost as many floors as you want. It's going to take a lot of materials, but like in Eternal Land, you're given like free reign. You can go like super high, but you can go pretty high even in the base game. And again, like you can add your supports and just kind of bring all your support up. And like I say, when you get to this next level, after you've added the first extra floor and you come up and you start adding the second extra floor, this is where your support problems are going to start to begin. The game is going to start telling you that some of these triangles don't have the support to be built. So what you'll end up having to do, and I'll try and show this here really quickly if I can. What you'll end up having to do is you'll have to add these outer triangles first, especially like on these corners and stuff, because you'll bring your supports up on the outer walls too, right? So you bring those up, and it'll start telling you that like triangles like this one right here that's trying to fill in particular, this one will start telling you like, oh, you don't have enough support because you're so high up and the support is getting harder and harder and harder to pull up. If you get that error, all you really need to do is bring your triangle off of these inner supports first. See if I can get it to do it. Just like that. Yeah, there you go. Connect it to your internal supports first. That way it supports your triangle going out, and you will get rid of that error. So then you can build off this one and start filling it in and connecting it to the outer wall. That happens mostly on the second and third levels that you're going to be adding with the support. Now you could, if you wanted to, again, and if you like it visually or you don't mind it visually, you could just come in and add like a pillar here and add like extra support that way, because it needs to connect to a support. But if you want to keep with the design language and keep the space in here relatively clean, and so you don't have to run around pillars and stuff like that, just connect it off these internal ones and add the support from there, and it will branch out to these outer ones. And that's pretty much it. Like that's the whole base design. You just start repeating from there, and you know, remixing off that however you want. Like I say, you can add how I have it on mine with the cubbies coming out on the second floor. You can move those cubbies up to the third floor if you prefer. You can take them out entirely. You can, you know, have them only come out part of the way. You could build like a walkway out to like a garage or something out here. Like honestly, you can riff off this in just a million different ways. But that's the basic of the base design. That'll get you everything you need in terms of room and ability to do stuff. And if we pop out of here, out of Eternal Land, and go back to the base game, I'll kind of show you how I've continued to build mine up exactly how I'm explaining here. Sometimes the loading is a little bit long. Once you get the hang of it, once you get like the basic gist of it, it comes together really quickly. It's all one triangle shape, just repeated. So to give you like a little bit of a better idea of how this starts to begin to look, you know, here are our turrets on the wings. As we mentioned, you can run wiring to them right up these supports really easily if you want to make it nice and clean. You got turrets. I haven't wired them all yet. You can easily slap your garage or whatever right out back or off to the side, whatever you prefer. You can put some of your crafting buildings outside, like I put my oil refiner on the outside back by the garage just for convenience. I'm gonna reorganize all this stuff a little bit more, but like you can see how much room there is in here. I've got all the crafting stations I really need, and I'm only using like a fourth of the space. You know, plenty of room for storage crates and shelving to keep all this organized if you want to do it that way. And then moving up between floors relatively easily. Here's my version of the cubbies for all the deviants. I also have my furnaces here. I may move these later. I'll certainly wire it better than that, make it look better. But that's the, you know, and we're not even using all these cubbies. There's still so much room. you know. And again, you go up to the next level, and I've already got this whole level made. I was going to make this level into like a RP kind of area, you could say, where like I'm going to put like my bed and like a desk and like, you know, things like that that really don't serve like a function. They're just there for fun or visual flair. And then we have like the roof where you're obviously your solar panels and stuff are going to go, and you can run all your wiring down from here. And it's really quite simple, you know. And if you want to, you can even you can even start to do like a fireman thing and go down the center if you want to, and just pop down to the bottom floor if you want to, you know, have a little fun with it. But it's a very effective base. It's very simple. It's easy to move around and to transport. To give you a little bit of an idea of the full visual footprint of it, I have a level 2 territory, so not even maxed out, and it's nowhere near taking up the entirety of my area. There's still so much room to build out here with whatever you want. More garage space. You could even build a fully visualized garage if you wanted to, with a roof and a building and all that stuff over it. You got plenty of room to put like auto loggers and auto miners and things like that out here. You can really just do whatever you want. Or you can even make it even bigger if you want to. As we said before, I'm doing 3 wall, but you could do 4 wall. You can make it bigger. You could do 5 wall even. That would be really fucking big, but you could do it. You can do it if you want to. So yeah, that's pretty much everything. If you have any questions about that, or anything you're not quite understanding, I will try to answer everybody's comments in the videos down below if you guys have any questions. I think it's pretty simple though. And like I said before, I do want to give Glitches credit for also inspiring me with his base design. And I will probably riff on this more myself as time goes on and like make it more my own. But I thought his kind of geometrical design was a really cool one, and it's a good starting point. And obviously some of you guys agreed because you kept asking for it. So that will give you guys all the information hopefully you need to build it. If not, I will do some follow-ups, and should be it. Hope you guys have a good time out there. Hope you're enjoying Once Human. Take it easy and happy hunting.